Welcome to Bed Crime Stories podcast. I'm your host, T. And if true crime is your jam, and like me, you enjoy delving into unsolved cases, trying to figure out who done it, please consider subscribing. And do me a favor while you're at it, please hit that like button. It can definitely help me to keep making content. Now, of all the people intimately associated with Summer Wells and the small coterie of those who allegedly were with Summer on the day she disappeared, Candy Har is the one we know the least about. What we do know is that Grandma Candy, or Grandis as we call her, failed to sound the alarm and get the word out about her 5-year-old granddaughter's disappearance. In fact, she did not speak on the case until 3 weeks ago, over 8 months after Summer got gone. And while she spoke to Ansley Daniel of WJHL, she wasn't there to plead for Summer's safe return. No. She was there to defend herself and her daughter, Candace Bly, over allegations by Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson that Summer's family has lawyered up and are refusing to cooperate. That was what got Grandis out of her camper finally, not our missing Summer. Despicable and cold. Well, good news. We've finally heard from someone who can tell us about Candy Har. That would be a lady named Lisa Kay. Kay turned up on Zav Girl's wonderful YouTube channel. Kay said that she's a friend of Grandis's missing daughter, Rosemary Bly's husband, Christopher Larson. Kay also said that she grew up with friends of Rosemary Bly's. While Kay knew Rosemary, she said she did not know Candace Bly. Kay had some very interesting things to say about Grandis. Things that I believe may help us to understand Candace Bly's personality, as well as Summer's. It turns out Grandis left her daughter's father, Kenneth James Bly, when Candace and Rosemary were in their early teens. She left him to run off with a female friend. Along with dumping her husband, Kenneth James Bly, who went by the name of Jim, Grandis also abandoned her daughters, Candace and Rosemary. Not only did Grandis jump the familial ship, she also failed to pay child support for her daughters and had no contact with them for many years, according to Kay. So we have to say that all of this is allegedly, okay? Basically, according to Kay, Candace and Rosemary spent their teen years and young adulthood without their mother. Apparently, Grandis was with this female partner for around 15 to 20 years. So Lisa Kay described Grandis as being a very cold woman, which actually comes as no surprise to me, at least, because you'd have to be pretty cold to not speak out about your 5-year-old granddaughter's disappearance until 8 months down the line. And then when you finally do open your mouth, you show very little emotion, no grief, no tears, no evidence of sadness. In fact, the only thing I saw on Grandis's face was anger, almost hostility. She came across to me as someone you wouldn't want to cross, someone you'd hate to come across in a dark alley. Definitely not a warm and fuzzy grandma. Kay said that Candace and Rosemary being abandoned in this manner really affected them. She described them both as being desperate for attention after their mother left. Kay also said that despite Candace being raised by her father, Jim, she was not close to him either and did not attend his funeral. Jim Bly passed away at the age of 85 on May 5th, 2021, so a little over a month before Summer disappeared. Kay also said that Candace was not close to her sister, Rose Marie, either. If you read Jim Bly's obituary, he's depicted as someone who enjoyed fishing. That is one thing that Candace and her dad had in common, apparently. Jim Bly also enjoyed playing pool and being with his family. He was in the U.S. Army and worked at various jobs. It's said that he loved to tell jokes and was well known for his sense of humor and quick wit. I feel a joke rising inside of me right now. Something like, you'd have to have a sense of humor to be married to... Oh, never mind. I better not go there. The obituary said that Bly left behind 5 children: Kathleen, Kenneth, Candace, Jeannie, and Rosie. Kay went on to say that Candy Harer used to go to the place where Candace Bly's first daughter, Candace Jean, worked, and that she'd harass her. Now, why in the world would Candy Har be harassing her own granddaughter? Poor Candace Jean likely had already suffered a great deal, having someone like Candace Bly as her mother, and having been removed from her parents' custody and placed in foster care. We know that Candace Jean and her brother, Andrew Jr., were adopted at some point, and then put back into foster care for some reason. Candace Jean allegedly ran away from her foster care home twice. So I've got to believe Candace Jean did not have a happy childhood. So why in the world would her biological grandmother harass her instead of try to nurture her? What kind of grandmother acts like that? I would wager a mean one, and one that possibly has psychological issues. Kay also stated that Candace is allegedly not allowed to see any of her grandchildren, except, of course, the Wells kids. Now, Kay made it clear that the reason for this was not related to any type of SA or PA, apparently. Kay confirmed that Rosemarie Bly was babysitting Candace's kids, Andrew Jr. and Candace Jean, and, seeing perhaps a problem with their care and or living conditions, called Child Protective Services, or CPS, on Candace and Candace's then-husband, Andrew Simon. Note that Candace's kids were ultimately removed from her and Andrew's care. Note as well that Rosemarie Bly went missing 6 years after this CPS event. So it doesn't appear that her disappearance has anything to do with her call to CPS about Candace and Andrew. When Zavgirl asked if Candace's son, Andrew Jr., really had some sort of injury from a baseball bat allegedly caused by his parents, an injury that forced him to be institutionalized, Kay said she didn't think so. She said it looked like Andrew Jr. may have a slight impairment, but that's all. And Kay also stated that Andrew Jr. was not in an institution, to her knowledge at least, in 2016, because at that time he and his sister Candace Jean were put into foster care once again. One thing Kay knows about Andrew Jr. is that he likes to collect rocks. Sounds like someone else in the family, right? One of the things we know about Candace is that she likes to collect rocks. Andrew Jr. is believed to be 23 years old. Kay told Zavgirl that Candace Bly herself was in special ed when she was in school. She also alleged that Candace was on meth when she was pregnant. I'm not sure if either of those two things are correct, so once again we have to remember that all of this is allegedly. When she was asked if she had an opinion about what happened to Candace's sister, Rosemarie, Kay stated that she does, but she's unwilling to share that information. She did say, however, that Rosemarie Bly is not coming back. like never coming back, in her opinion. Kay then spoke about Rosemary's husband, or I guess ex-husband, Christopher Larson. Kay described him as a devoted father to his and Rosemary's 2 daughters. She said he never remarried and that he's been poorly treated because of Rosemary's disappearance and people assuming that he had something to do with it. Kay seems to believe that Larson was not involved in Rosemary's disappearance. Apparently, Larson has been even more maligned since Summer's disappearance. It's sort of stirred up the dust on Rosemary's case, and people have crawled out of the woodwork to give Larson an even more difficult time. One of the most interesting comments Lisa Kay made about Grandis and Candace was that she believes they suffer from some sort of attachment disorder. Now, I don't think Kay is a psychologist, so this would just be her opinion. But it made me think that maybe that's why Grandis and Candace seem so detached about Summer and her disappearance, why they never cry or tear up when talking about the missing little girl. Here's how the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, or AACAP, describes attachment disorders. Attachment disorders are psychiatric illnesses that can develop in young children who have problems in emotional attachments to others. Parents, caregivers, or physicians may notice that a child has problems with emotional attachment as early as their first birthday. Often, a parent brings an infant or very young child to the doctor with one or more of the following concerns. 1. Severe colic and or feeding difficulties. 2. Failure to gain weight. 3. Detached and unresponsive behavior. 4. Difficulty being comforted. 5. Preoccupied and or defiant behavior. 6. Inhibition or hesitancy in social interactions. 7. Being too close with strangers. The second item, failure to gain weight, and the last item, being too close with strangers, caught my attention because I remember what Jose Roman, the man who stayed at the Wells property for a few weeks, said about the first time he met Summer. Take a listen.
So you're there, they show up, and you see Summer. Is that the first time you see Summer?
Yes, absolutely. She actually walked up to me and shook my hand and introduced herself.
Oh, really?
And that is first time, and I remember that because Candace had told Summer, you just walk up to a stranger and say hi, and Summer's like, he looks nice. That's exactly what she said.
Was Summer's surprising willingness to go up to a stranger in this manner indicative of an attachment disorder? I wonder. We also know that Summer was extremely thin. I'm curious now to know if as a baby she had trouble gaining weight. Remember, Allie has said that Candace never wanted a baby girl, and Don Wells has said that Summer right from the start rejected her mother and instead went to her father. The article on the AACAP's website also said this: most children with attachment disorders have had severe problems or difficulties in their early relationships. They may have been physically or emotionally abused or neglected. Children who have attachment issues can develop 2 possible types of disorders: reactive attachment disorder and disinhibited social engagement disorder, or DSED. Now, the way Summer was described by Jose and what we've seen of Summer in videos at her church, clinging on to her Sabbath teacher, Robin Lane, lead me to believe that she maybe suffered from DSED. Here's how this disorder is described. Children with DSED do not appear fearful when meeting someone for the first time. They may be overly friendly, walk up to strangers to talk or even hug them. Younger children may allow strangers to pick them up, feed them, or give them toys to play with. When these children are put in a stranger situation, they do not check with their parents or caregivers and will often go with someone they do not know. This for me is one of those oh my God moments. If Summer did suffer from DSED, she would have been perfect fodder for a stranger abduction. Now, I don't believe Summer was abducted by a stranger, but this is definitely an aha moment for me, at least when thinking about Summer and her vulnerability around strangers. As for Candace and Grandis, I think they may have suffered from reactive attachment disorder, or RAD. Listen to this description. Children with RAD are less likely to interact with other people because of negative experiences with adults in their early years. They have difficulty calming down when stressed and do not look for comfort from their caregivers when they're upset. These children may seem to have little to no emotions when interacting with others. They may appear unhappy, irritable, sad, or scared while having normal activities with their caretaker. The diagnosis of RAD is made if symptoms become chronic. Is it possible Candace and Grandis suffer from RAD? Candace told Chris McDonough that she tends to stay away from other people and prefers to stick to her family. We've also all been witness to her seemingly cold demeanor when talking about her missing daughter, Summer. Could this be the reason for this coldness? Does it also explain Grandis's cold personality? Does this type of problem run in the family? Has this been going on over multiple generations? We know that Grandis's brother, Warren, has serious psychological problems. I would love to know more about Candy Har's childhood and what her parents/caregivers were like. I hope this gives you something to chew on tonight. As always, I welcome your comments. Now, you know what's coming next, right? Please smash that like button, and if you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified each day when I publish new content. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.